If you like watching racing where you can see the most unique and varied engine and car combinations racing door to door around a circuit, then the Australian Sports Sedan series is for you. This series sees LS-swapped FDRX7s racing side by side with Aston Martins, classic Trans Ams and just about everything in between. The Sports Sedan series has very few limitations, leading to an array of amazing cars with some truly ingenious ideas hiding under the fiberglass bodies. Jason Waye, owner of Tough Mounts, is one of the lunatics who races in this class, in CORTZILLA, his RB25-powered Ford Cortina.
So a lot of friends and a lot of people we know obviously know that I like these. I had a experience late 70s, early 80s with my dad, and we went up to one of his friends, John Briggs's house up in the Adelaide Hills, and he had a Chevy Monza there, or his Chevy Monza sports sedan. And I remember Dad and him doing business and whatever. At the end of it, they started the car up and it was just amazing.
Fast forward a few years, and Jason had a unique opportunity to acquire one of these classic race cars.
This car was built 2001 over in New South Wales for a bloke by the name of Scott Bridie. He originally campaigned a 13B rotary into the car. He ran it for a few years, I think 10 years, 12 years, I think. And then he sold it to a gentleman by the name of Glenn Jordan, also in New South Wales, who had the RB25 that we have in the car today. And he campaigned it for a while. Then he got sick and passed away. In between that, the family of Glenn, who owned the car, sort of mentioned that it might come up for sale, maybe not, we're not sure. So once we did the deal and the car arrived on the truck, slowly went through the car and updated everything, new fuel system and lines, cleaned everything out, better seating position for me, enough so that I could drive it. We drove it once, which was interesting. It was a lot faster than what I'd had before. And then we had a bit of a lull in what we were doing with my work. So a good friend, Miles Bond, who's a good driver, he needed a car for last year, so 2022's Sports Sedan series. So I offered the car to him to drive and sort out whilst I'm not using it. So he did that. He came out here and out at the bend and did really well.
For the type of racing Jason was doing, he had one big change that he was keen on: a sequentially shifted gearbox.
One of the things, as soon as we went to the PPG gearbox, we had to do was basically put a late model ECU into it. To integrate the flat shift, we had to, again, run a similar sort of setup. So it was a little bit of stuffing around, a little bit of setting with the all of the loads and all that sort of stuff through the load cell on the shifter. It took a little bit of getting used to, and as in the setup. Other than that, it was just easy. It all just works. So now you can, just sort of fly down the straight without doing anything and keep your foot pinned and just pull gears, and it does everything. So it blips on downshifts, it does your auto blip and slots down with the next gear. My left foot just doesn't even get used now. It just sits hard up against the firewall. This is the second time we've used Haltech, and the first time was in our Fox Body Mustang with the Barra in it. We used all of their gear through that, and that's just made life a dream. Everything we need to do is just so easy with that car. So when it came time to update this car with all of the electronics, we didn't even have a second thought. It was just call the guys at Haltech and get everything we needed. So we ran an Elite 2500 with this, the full terminated loom, IC7 dash, wideband modules and all that sort of stuff, which is just great. And everything's just gone together. Obviously the loom still has to be modified to suit the race car, but it was all easy. The Sparky came in, young Caleb, and he did what he needed to do. Since then, touch wood, no dramas, no problems. It's straightforward. It's easy. I can modify the dash to change it to where I need to. If I want to look at something, I can do that. Data logging, everything is just there, and it's just simple. It's right at the touch of your fingers, and even a dumbo like me with computers can just do it. It's just great.
On the surface, these cars look a bit like a slightly warped, muscled up version of their road-going counterpart. However, there's a lot more going on under that fiberglass covering.
So chassis is a hand-built chassis, built by Steve Vigers over in New South Wales. It's full tube chassis. Diff, we run a Borg Warner Falcon Commodore style M78 in it. It's got full floaters, cambered rear as well, so the rears are a bit of a lean as well, which helps cornering and everything else. 4-bar coilovers in the rear. Other than that, it's not really that special back there. Up front, we've got sort of cantilever front suspension, so it's got inboard coilovers. We're running a RB25 engine in the car, fits the performance gearboxes, sequential 6-speed as well now. It's just good fun. Johnny Tigg made up a real cool manifold, turbo manifold for us. It sits the turbo up here facing east-west instead of your traditional north-south to help driver cooling, because it's very, very hot in there with everything running down right alongside of the driver. So now it all exits out the passenger side of this car, but right-hand side now, which just made it a lot more comfortable. Yeah, the car was tuned by Troy from TZ. He's done a great job. They put it onto one of the dynos and ran it through everything, all through the gears, like a full run. It made 346 real kilowatts, not heaps, but 16-pounder boost. So we've got a lot further that we can start turning things up. At the moment, whilst I'm still learning and gaining confidence, it's just great. We can keep it at this, and it's nice and drivable. The torque application sensational, and we can just do what we need to. Then as I get more comfortable and better, we can start creeping more boost into it and pushing harder.
And that's what it's all about. Getting familiar with your car, working up to the limits, and ultimately getting seat time in the project that you've put so many hours into.
First time I drove it was bloody scary. With the sequential in it, my first drive was around Sydney Motorsport Park. First time I'd ever been over there. So that was daunting in itself. First time driving a sequential car, which was daunting in itself. But it took a session or two and it started to come around and started to get the feel for it. Muscle memory is a big thing, going from a H pattern to a sequential. I found myself a couple of times going from second to third, whereas you can't do that with sequential. You've got to be pulling back to go upwards. But once I got the head around that, it was good, and just confidence grew. And yeah, now it's becoming more normal. It's great. It's just so much fun, and I just keep finding myself, I've got to push myself harder and harder, and I can do more and more and more. As the confidence grows, it'll just get better and better and better. Well, obviously, Cortina, it's RB25, not a 26, but, it's similar. So CORTZILLA came about. It was actually just a throwaway comment by one of the other guys that was helping us do stickers. And it just sort of stuck, so why not? And then because the car's so, pretty cool and fun and bit historic, bit nostalgic feeling, had Ryan Ford do up a cool design for us, so we're using that on all our merch for when we race and all that sort of stuff, just to keep a bit of the history going. This is all done in a retro sort of feel as well, just to make us feel older and cooler. It's just fun. I enjoy them, and because of that, we've got a good following with these now, and we do more and more all the time. I've just started racing, which is sort of what we're doing this weekend, and we're just trying to get out and have some fun and enjoy ourselves.